welcome to the Hyman Cast, a podcast of the Hyman Settlement School, where we explore the history, culture, and people that make the Hyman Settlement School what it is today, and how this historic institution will continue to serve its mission of celebrating heritage and changing lives in Central Appalachia. I'm Corey Terry.
And I'm Jordan Collins.
And welcome to episode number 15 of the Hyman Cast. And it's been a few weeks since we've sat down at the table here and knocked an episode out.
Couple technical difficulties and mix of things going on here on campus. So
yeah, we a few weeks ago, I guess it's actually been right at a month now. Today's the 11th, isn't it?
Wow. Good thing we did a 3-hour episode then.
Yeah. So on May 11th, we sat down here for 3 hours that day for 3 different power hours. Trying to raise money for Kentucky Gives Day, and we had a fun time. We hope you all tuned in for that. It was live streamed on our Facebook page, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of interaction on there. And
big success too.
Yeah, we raised a little over $30,000 that day, and I think that's far exceeded anything we've raised on Kentucky Gives Day before. So I like to think that was helped by our live streams.
And our about 100 listeners on that day. So
Yeah. I mean,
all that support.
We had a lot of support.
We just like to think we do more than we do. But
at different times, there was upwards to 40 people tuning in at one time, and
substantial.
People come in, they drop back out. They just didn't have time at that point.
Yeah,
so
I'm just glad everyone who listened and
you don't know the full extent of the viewership. I mean, it was probably in the millions.
Oh yeah, for sure. at least 100 billion.
Yeah,
100 billion
for sure. All right, so episode 15 was actually, we started recording it the other day with another guest, and everything, that day was just not supposed to happen, I don't think. There was lots of things just went wrong.
It was raining, Liz had a flat tire.
Yeah, I had to go rescue my wife and kids from a blown out tire, and then we came back here and started recording, and everything just shut down on us. And then we was going to record it yesterday with them, and Jordan was sick, so we had to postpone that until next week. So we moved on to our next guest, and this has actually been a long anticipated day and a long anticipated podcast because as many of you all probably know, we have been in a long search for a new executive director over the past year or so. And he's been here now for 2 weeks, and we've got to hang out with him and get to know him a little better, and we want to let you all get to know him a little better today. So Will Anderson, our new executive director, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Had him down, didn't you?
Had it on
there
mute.
We go.
There we go.
You were afraid I was going to say something that I wasn't supposed to. So
yeah, I muted everybody during the initial thing there. So so welcome to the show, and we're happy to have you. It's been a fun 2 weeks so far. So Jordan, what are we starting our discussion off with today?
The same thing we always start with, the origin story.
Origin story.
So we just want to know where you're from, your childhood, your education. We just want to know who Will is and how he got here.
Tell us all about Will.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a long story. How much time do we have?
Usually about an hour, but
okay. Well, I think I can probably cover it in that amount of time. But
yeah,
gotcha.
Well, anyway, I'm from Kodiak, Alaska, and if you've ever heard of a Kodiak bear, that's where I'm from. There's lots of bears around there. I've been around lots of bears during my life, and really enjoy having grown up in a nice, tiny little town in the middle of the Gulf of Alaska. And so beyond that, what else do I need to say?
Your childhood, what was it like? Were you out there, back here? When I was a kid, I was picking blackberries.
What's it like growing up in Alaska, versus probably compared to here? I say there's lots of similarities. It's a very rural area, and
it is.
Mountainous, I'm assuming.
It is, yeah. And I think one of the things I loved about growing up there, we lived right next door to my grandparents. And so I literally spent more time with my grandparents than I did at home. I just loved being with my grandparents. And I remember them, taking us out berry picking, and we'd go out fishing, and just had a really close relationship with my grandparents and my extended family. My uncle was a bachelor and lived with my grandparents, and I just really enjoyed, the closeness of having family literally the very next door.
What's the biggest fish you ever caught?
Oh, well, I've caught probably a halibut that was a little over 100 pounds.
Wow.
But I've caught a lot of salmon. I used to work in an office that overlooked the boat harbor, and I had a boat in one of the slips there. And in the evenings, I would, when I got off work at 5, I'd run down to the boat harbor, and I'd go out on my boat, and I'd put out my trolling gear, and I would, hook a king salmon and, bring it in and take it home and have it for dinner.
How does fresh salmon compare to store-bought salmon? I know it's going to be
there is no comparison. Okay. Honestly, there's no comparison. I love fish. I have fish all the time. In fact, I had some mahi that we bought from Costco last night. So I'm a big fan of fish, but there's just no comparison between something that you caught that day to something that's been frozen for 6 months or 9 months. So
I had mahi one time, and it was the best thing I've ever tasted. So it was great.
There you go.
Me and my father-in-law went fishing a couple of weeks ago, and I've never had fresh. I've went fishing a lot, but we never cooked it or anything. And we had it for lunch that weekend or dinner, and it sparked a love for fishing in me. It's like, if I can get to eat this every time, then
Plus, it's a lot of fun. There's nothing like the exhilaration of hooking into that fish, and it's addictive. I really, really enjoy fishing.
Yeah. And me and my uncle buddy, we fished all the time, and we'd get sunburned, and he'd come back and he'd fry them up, and that was my favorite part.
Oh yeah.
We covered ours in fish fry batter, so I'm not sure if that counted as much, but
it counts.
It was still very, very even more delicious with that on there. So so what about your education? I guess what's it like? It's probably pretty similar anywhere else, but going through public schools or anything of that. So I don't know if you went to public school in Alaska. What was that like up there?
Yeah. I think public schools are the same pretty much anywhere you go in the United States. I think there's a standard, and so it's pretty similar. And I didn't spend all of my younger years in Alaska. When I was in elementary school, my father, he worked for civil service for the Navy. There was a big Navy base on Kodiak. And when they closed that Navy base down, my dad was given the opportunity to relocate to another Navy base. They kind of helped pay for the relocation. And my parents just thought that it was in our best interest, to go outside of Alaska. And so we moved down to Washington State. My dad was a mechanic, an auto mechanic. He worked in the auto pool. And so he kept all the trucks and vehicles on base, maintained and operating well. And he had a good career. I have lots of good memories of me and my dad, working on our cars, and so I really kind of enjoy that a little bit as well still.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you picked anything up in that trade, and that's good to know.
I'll
file that away.
Do you work on Volkswagens? Jordan's asking.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem though. Vehicles these days are so complicated that unless you have a computer science degree, you really can't do much. That's why one of the vehicles we own is a Jeep Wrangler. It's a 2005 Jeep Wrangler. And it's kind of old school to a lot of extent. It's very simple, and it's very easy to work on, and that's part of the reason why I bought it. Because my other vehicle, a newer SUV, I don't have the first clue on how to do anything on that vehicle.
I can change the oil, I can change the brakes, but I cannot fix the Bluetooth. So
there we go.
Yeah, it's very expensive too. Whenever you have to do that sort of thing, so
just act like it's not anything wrong. If I see a check engine light, I'm like, nah, it ain't there.
So where did you go to college?
Well, I have gone to college 4 separate times. The first I really like, learning. I like the campus environment. I really enjoy that. My first go at college, I attended Seattle Pacific University in Seattle. I was a Christian education major, and basically I studied music, psychology, and religion. I kind of had it in my mind that I was going to be like a youth pastor or work in the church, focused on working with youth. And so during that time, I did a lot of work with, I worked at a place called the Shelter Runaway Center, where kids who were on the street or were in trouble with the law, they would stay in our facility for days at a time. And so I would go there. A lot of times I would work overnight, and I would answer a suicide hotline, teenagers could call that number and talk to someone about, what they're going through. And so a great experience. And it was really during that time that my path kind of changed. I ended up not working in the church. I'm not working in a church. I'm working here. But my dad, I just said, was an auto mechanic. He didn't make a lot of money, and the place I went to school was pretty expensive. It was a private university founded by, I think it was Free Methodist, and my parents couldn't contribute a lot to my education. So I spent my summers going up to Alaska. I would work in a cannery, a lot of hard work. You would work. I think one summer I tracked my average hours. I averaged 92 hours a week for like 3 months. The good thing about that, though, is you would be out in a remote area, and pretty much everything you made, you took home with you at the end of the summer. And so I was able to do that and then have enough money to pay my tuition and live on for the next school year. And I just did that every year. But as I was nearing completion of my degree, my summer employer said, we'd really like to hire you full time. But we can tell that you're very good with numbers. And so we would like to pay for you to go study accounting. We'll let you do it during the workday. We'll pay your wage while you're in class. We'll pay your tuition if you'll come to work at our headquarters in Seattle. And at that time, I was looking for a job with a church, and most of the jobs I was seeing, paid like, barely enough to pay rent. And then the job with my summer employer, they offered like triple that wage. And so you're kind of saying, well, what path should I follow? And I just really felt like going to work for that seafood processor was the right path.
Especially if they're going to be paying for college. That's
right. Exactly. Yeah. It just seemed like, sometimes opportunities get placed in your path, and, a lot of times the right move is, to seize those opportunities. So I did that, and that led to later earning I earned a master's degree in business administration and a second bachelor's degree in accounting, and spent my career kind of working my way up into various initially accounting and finance roles. I worked for the Boeing Corporation, the aircraft manufacturer. Really enjoyed working for them. I started out working for them right after I finished my accounting degree, and I wanted to work in accounting for them, but the assistant controller for Boeing was a graduate of Western Washington University, where I earned my accounting degree. And his advice was to take any job you can within the Boeing organization. Then after 10 months, you can apply for a transfer, and then you'll have a better chance of getting a job in an accounting field. So I applied and was hired as an industrial engineer, i.e., although I always thought of it as imaginary engineering, because I really wasn't an engineer. I was like a project planner. I would make sure that I worked on the 767 wing line, and I would make sure that the wing was ready to be joined with the aircraft. And so I would schedule the jobs, and if we fell behind, I would make sure that we caught up to schedule, and I would report on status on how far along we were in the process of building the wing. And it was interesting because I could walk around the manufacturing floor, and I could go into the cockpit of a 747 or into the luggage compartment, or I could go anywhere I wanted, and so that was kind of fun. But right at the 10-month mark, I applied and was hired at the Boeing corporate headquarters. They called it company offices, and I worked in the finance department. And it was kind of neat because I was one of just 4 people that produced the whole corporation's financial statements. Wow. And so I would get a bunch of data from all these Boeing subsidiaries, and I would convert it into the headquarters structure. And then within 3 days after the end of the month, we would have to issue these financial statements, and eventually it would go into the annual report. So it was weird working in a company where you would round off the millions because the number was too small. We'd work with billions. And so it was kind of mind-boggling, the scale of a corporation like Boeing. And I felt like I was really lucky to be at that level in such a big corporation. I couldn't trade in Boeing stock because I would see all the financial data before, Wall Street would, and so I couldn't trade in Boeing stock. But great experience, and it was really a big part of moving me along in my career, because while I was working there, I was recruited to serve as the vice president of finance for a government contracting company in Washington, D.C. It's kind of a long story of how I was related to this company, but I accepted that position, and the company was owned by Cognac Incorporated. I'm Alaska Native, and under the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, people from that region were given shares of stock in that corporation. And while I worked at Boeing, I ran for a seat on the board of directors of that company. And through serving on the board, I helped start this company. And after the company was started, they pursued me to kind of create the financial system for that new subsidiary. And again, it was one of those opportunities in my life path. And so I took it, and to be perfectly honest with you, having come from Alaska, I didn't fit well in Washington, D.C. It's a very hectic and stressful place, very, lots of people. And, I really like Hindman, where, you can, drive to work in the morning and maybe not see another car. That's my style. And so I didn't really fit well in Washington, D.C.
I've been to Washington a handful of times for the DAR conferences, and the taxi drivers there are insane. Like, I've never seen someone try to merge in front of someone going that fast and hit the brakes that hard.
That's right.
God.
I've been to the airport. That's as close as I've been.
Yeah. It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that. If I was ever going to go to D.C., somebody would have to drive me because I couldn't handle it.
You wouldn't want them to drive you.
I like the metro. Take the train.
Oh yeah,
much better approach.
The train is nice.
Yeah, it is nice. So, but anyway, and after working in Washington, D.C., I took a position as the VP of Finance for the parent corporation, Cognac, and I did that for, I think, 6 years, and then eventually was selected to serve as the CEO of that corporation, and did that for a little over 7 years. So I was with Cognac through membership, through service on the board, through that subsidiary, as a CFO and the CEO for, I think, 17 years. So a pretty big chunk of my career was spent there. After leaving there, I worked for a couple of other Native corporations in the CEO capacity, but really found that it really wasn't what I wanted for my life. My job required that I travel a lot. I was, overseeing, around 20 subsidiary companies across the country. We had dozens of real estate holdings all over the country, and it required that I be on the road a lot. One year I was in a hotel room more than 120 nights out of 365. So for a third of the days of the year, I was away from home and in a hotel. And I just don't see that as being a good life. I really don't. So I made the decision to leave that world. I went back to school for the fourth time and earned a graduate certificate in nonprofit management from the University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon. And when I finished up there, I found a job running a nonprofit in Wisconsin, in southern Wisconsin. And, I liked the community, I liked the job, but it really wasn't kind of where I saw myself spending the rest of my life, the rest of my career. I really wanted something like Hindman, where, it's an important organization in a community. It does lots of good. It really helps people. And so when I saw this opportunity come up, I applied, and here I am.
And then when you worked in Wisconsin, did you, if I remember correctly, was it Senior Corps that you were involved with? Or?
It is part of Senior Corps. Senior Corps is kind of under the umbrella of AmeriCorps, and so the grant submission process and the reporting process is identical to what the settlement goes through.
With the ReadingCorps, yeah.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I was just kind of trying to make those connections there.
Yeah.
And at what point, I know you worked somewhere in Alaska where you all had the container farms. Was that a part of Koniag? Or?
No,
okay.
No, the last 3 years that I worked in Alaska, I worked for a village corporation above the Arctic Circle in a village called Kotzebue. And it's a village of about 3,000 people, mainly Inupiaq Alaska Native people. And one of the things that I noticed right away is that, when you'd go into the grocery store and you want to buy a head of lettuce, the lettuce was wilted and brown and expensive. It was really expensive. And so it was kind of weird. I love to eat well, and it just, was hard to not be able to buy, fresh produce. So one of the ideas that I had right away when I was there is, what would it take to improve the food security of that community? Because occasionally the weather would be bad and freight couldn't make it in, and there wouldn't be any produce in the store at all. So I looked into a hydroponics operation where there's all these racks inside of a shipping container, and then there was a computer system that would add nutrients to this big tank of water, and the water would continually circulate. And it was like a factory. It would the system would produce 520 plants a week, every week, week after week, and we could just decide, whatever mix of produce we wanted to produce. Excuse me. One of the best things we produced was like basil. We produced really nice basil, but all kinds of different kinds of leafy greens. It didn't grow. You couldn't grow like potatoes.
Yeah.
A root vegetable, because the seed is planted in, they called it rock wool, and so it didn't really have dirt to grow in. It just had like a base for the roots to hold on to, and then the water would pass through that. And it was kind of amazing that it would be so consistent. It had the same amount of nutrients, same amount of light, and so it would grow at the same pace. And you could just, the organization was, the company we started was called Arctic Greens. And I know for sure that we were the first agricultural operation in the Alaskan Arctic. I think, though, there were some other similar operations in Iceland and things like that. But it was kind of neat to kind of be a trailblazer of something that I really think is very sensible. I think the biggest challenge, though, is that those operations are very energy intensive. That the lights are on, and in those rural villages, the power costs something like 52 cents a kilowatt hour, which is probably 4 or 5 times what it is here. And so, even though what we produced was fresh, it was still expensive. It was still $5 for a head of lettuce. My initial thought was that we could cut that cost in half, but we couldn't because of the energy cost. But we looked into solar power or wind power as ways to kind of cut those costs.
Did you have to heat the containers at all, or?
No, and it was funny is even though it was the Arctic, we had to cool those containers, especially during the summer.
The lights.
Yeah, right? The lights put out heat, and the container is very well insulated. It had spray foam insulation. It was very tight, and so we had to install an air conditioner.
Wow,
just kind of weird.
Air conditioner in the Arctic.
Yeah.
What was the average temperature up there?
Well, it really varied. In the summertime, it could hit 80. I mean, it gets pretty warm, depending on which way the wind is blowing. If the wind is blowing from the land out into the Bering Sea, it would be 80. But if it was blowing from the Bering Sea onto land, it could be below freezing. In fact, it could snow, in the middle of summer, and did frequently. And the wintertime's a different story. It would stay from like 10 to 20 below zero for 2 or 3 months straight. And then other times it would be, 10 to minus 10. So yeah, it was a cold environment. It was dark. In a lot of ways, it was a difficult place to live.
Was this the place that you had to fly into every time, or you couldn't?
Yes,
get in? Okay.
There was no way up there other than by air. There's no roads. And we would get twice a year, the ice would be free. The ocean, there'd be open water. So we would get 2 barges a year, usually one around the 4th of July. Actually, it usually came in on the 4th of July, and then one about a month later. And if you didn't get freight that had to be put in by barge, you would have to wait till the next year because there was no other way to get anything there.
insane.
Yeah, we always think we live in a remote place here, but no.
Yeah, at least we have Amazon Prime. I mean,
That's right.
Amazon Prime.
That's right.
But
Yeah, we got it good.
So in the Arctic Circle, is it dark like for days at a time up there, or is there?
Where my wife and I lived, it would, during its worst, we would get, maybe a half an hour of like dusk, where it would kind of get a little lighter in the sky and then go black again. Yeah. Then it would get a little bit longer and a little bit longer. Then eventually you'd see the sun. But my wife, before we married, she lived in Barrow, and in that village, they would go nearly 3 months without a sunrise. The sun would set in November and come up in February. So, and it'd be complete, darkness, other than the moon, of course. But it'd be no sunshine for months.
That's intense.
I think I would sleep a lot.
Oh yeah, that would actually be okay.
Or just be very disoriented with everything in life.
Yeah, it would be hard to like get your circadian rhythm going.
Yeah,
just like
it's true.
All right.
So we're known for our hard transitions. So let's do one, Corey.
You have your questions marked that you're going to ask. I'm going to ask it, but then I'm like, I feel like you're going to get mad at me. So you just go ahead.
Which one?
I don't know. I forgot your little system here. Which one was mine?
I'm the X's. You're the O's.
Okay. So now you're 2 weeks in, Will. How are you enjoying Hyman so far?
I love Hindman, and I think the longer that I'm here, the more that I like it. I enjoy the mist on the trees in the morning. I enjoy the how peaceful it is. I hate a commute to work, a drive to work, and here it's relaxing because I don't hardly see another vehicle as I'm driving, and I just feel very much at home, and nothing short of I love it here. Really do.
You've already taken the opportunity to go on some hikes and stuff like that. What have you discovered there besides lots of ticks?
I was going to say that's the main thing. We don't really see ticks in Alaska.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit getting used to. And before we moved here, when we came for the interview, my wife and I went hiking in the Daniel Boone National Forest. And I came down here a second time, and we went hiking around Natural Bridges State Park, and really attracted to that sort of thing. My wife and I really love the outdoors, love hiking, and there's plenty of that here.
Yeah, Daniel Boone runs straight through Leslie County. We're right
Leslie
dead in the middle of it. Daniel Boone National Forest. That's
That's your claim to fame, huh?
I guess it's something, ain't it?
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. It might draw some painful memories or something. But.
Yeah, it's fine. Every day it's fine. So, what drew you to kind of seek this position as an executive director?
Well, I think, in telling my story about my wanting to work in a church setting, that I've always felt drawn to serving my community. I just, everybody's motivated by different things, but I really like the idea of working in a capacity where I can make my community better and stronger. And, the fact of the matter is I was actually offered another job in addition to the one here at the settlement. It was with an organization out in Oregon. And what really drew me here instead is that, the position in Oregon was a similar sized organization, but it was in a big city where the impact that they have on the community is, to some people not even noticed. But here in Hindman, the settlement plays such an important role in the region that it really, truly does make a difference in the lives of the people in the region and the community. And to me, that's what drives me. That's what really attracts me, is being able to actually make a difference in the community. So it wasn't a hard decision at all. I was the other position was offered to me first, but I was hoping that I would be offered this position, and when I was, it just half a second. It's like, so very, very excited to have been offered the job. I feel very fortunate. I'm just in awe, really, of the history and the traditions here. And I love the paintings on the walls in the hall, And that sort of thing motivates me. I mean, I like, being able to kind of contribute to the life of a long-lived organization. I think it's a very cool thing to be able to do.
Indeed, that's one of the great things. Just such a long history and legacy to fit into and to become part of that story.
Yeah, I think we sometimes take it for granted.
I sometimes think like it's going to be interesting. Well, I guess I won't know, but like 50 to 100 years from now, if it's still here, people going through the archives like we do today and reading about the Hyman cast. Like
the tour guide will probably still point out little Corey
Terry on the wall when it's not Corey Terry at all. Yeah. So when I put things on this external hard drive from all of our video content and stuff, I'm like, somebody's going to go through this here in about 100 years or something, and see this, and
they'll need something to convert it,
and
from whatever it is, because like those cassette tapes are just I don't even know.
That's funny to think about. Yeah,
that'd be insane though. Like I don't know. I don't want to get too far into like figuring out what the technology of the future is. So
they could probably just like touch it and like screen will pop up or something. I don't know.
Or it's like a part of us, like for robots.
Yeah, you can just see it in your glasses or something.
Oh, I'm all about that. Bionics, anytime, ready.
All right. So based on what you have seen so far, your time here, what do you see as the strengths of the settlement school and the community here, and also just sort of the region as a whole?
Well, I think, there are lots of strengths, but I think the biggest strength that I see are the people, the staff. I see, really strong staff. People are really engaged and, seem to be very motivated to do good work. The people of the community, there's lots of leadership that, are really engaged in, all the different programs that are being undertaken to make the community stronger. So I think, the institution itself, while has this great history, nothing moves forward without people. And I really think that, without question, its greatest strength right now is the people that work here and the people that live here.
Sure. So what would you say? I think I asked you this question a similar question in your whenever you come here to campus for your interview, and I think it was premature at that point. But maybe you have a better sense now that you've been here a couple of weeks and got to know people and see things happen in action. What would you say is, I guess, sort of your plan, your vision for harnessing those strengths and moving the settlement school forward?
Yeah, and I think you did ask me that question, and I think I'm going to give you a similar answer today. And that is that, I don't come here to Hindman, knowing everything and having all the solutions and having, this great, vision of how I'm going to change things. I think it's more important to come here kind of with an open mind and an open heart. And I think, it's important that I listen, that I become involved in the community, that I develop really good relationships. And I think it's through building those relationships that vision is really created of how the settlement might change over time to meet the community's needs. Because it's not about me and it's not about my ideas. It's about how is the community changing and what can be done, knowing that it's always changing to make it stronger. And the answer today is different than the answer from a year ago and will be different from the answer 2 years from now. And the key to being a long-lived organization is to always be sensitive, to what those new needs are and to adapt your programming and to change your direction so that, you're continuing to meet needs. Because the minute you stop doing that, people stop engaging because you're no longer relevant. Mm-hmm. And I think, you always want to be careful not to do that. That's not to say that I don't bring ideas. One of the ideas that I've already talked with you about is I love these podcasts, and I love the chemistry that the two of you bring in creating these episodes. And I think that, we can leverage that to make what the settlement is doing better known across the state, because there's tremendous things happening here, really great things. But I don't think that as a whole, the state knows all that's going on. And so I think it's important that as part of, becoming a stronger entity, that we, do a better job of sharing what we're doing. And a lot of that is through media, through the very thing we're doing here now.
Yeah.
I mean, we very much appreciate it. I always thought me and Corey had chemistry, so.
Sometimes negative chemistry.
Chemistry's chemistry, Corey.
Yeah.
People respond to it.
We bounce off each other well, though.
Yep, you do.
I think communication is one of the most essential things that you can have in an organization, internally and externally, and just communicating your brand, communicating your mission, and exploring new ways as technology advances to do that, and not sticking to the old ways of doing things, but trying to adapt and all that good stuff. So I'm excited about where we can take the podcast and everything else we are thinking about and planning.
I'm ready for the future.
I'm ready for the future
Today.
I'm always ready for that future.
Yeah, I know it.
Ready for what to come.
Yeah, of course Corey is. I know.
Can I get some more cameras?
Yeah, let's get 10 more cameras. And let's get some cameras to put on top of the cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, Will, you are an avid photographer, I think.
I am.
So I've looked through your Facebook page and saw very intense pictures of bears and that sort of thing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I've always been into photography. It's been a passion of mine since I was a little kid. I enjoy the process of kind of imagining an image and then creating it. I think that's just love doing that. And I've done lots of different kinds of photography. I love horses. I've owned a horse, and I love capturing equestrian events and things like that. I've done a lot of that. I love wildlife photography. I have a lot of equipment that enables me to appear that I'm close to the bears when I'm not that close.
A lens that's like this long.
I do have this great 400 millimeter f2.8. It's got a big huge front end, and it's about that long. And but I think of those just as tools for your creativity. But you can make a great picture with any camera. It's really the vision of the photographer more than the equipment that you have. So no new cameras. Have to make do with what you have. No, I'm just kidding.
See there, Corey?
No.
It's about vision. This is where Jordan comes into play. The vision.
All right. Sometimes my vision just requires multiple angles. I'm doing video here.
Here we go.
Yeah. So I think you're a Nikon guy, right?
I am a Nikon guy. Although I used to be a Pentax guy. Back when I used film, I had a Pentax and I had a Mamiya, a medium format camera. But when the digital world started maturing, I switched to Nikon, and I'm glad I did, because I really like Nikon products.
My wife does Nikon, and she has a Pentax too, a film camera. Once we got this Canon here, it was hard to transition over to it, but I'm glad. I like the Canon. It's kind of more dummy proof for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing all that well, but figuring it out. Are you looking? I keep hearing that photography is going mirrorless. Are you looking into that at all?
I haven't. I mean, I know about them, and I know what their strengths and advantages are, but I'm pretty comfortable with the gear I have right now. And when I get ready for another camera, I might take a look at mirrorless. Yep.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive.
They are.
This is all above my head. I just have no idea what's going on.
It's also very irrelevant what we're talking about, but I was just interested to know.
Yeah. That's what this is for us to serve our interest.
Our own interest.
But I got you 3 in a row here, Corey. So.
Oh, you didn't you? Yeah. So, what is the most interesting thing that you've learned about Hyman so far? Maybe it's from our history. Maybe it's from the office culture, which always has its moments of fun. I don't know.
Well, I think one of the first things that I didn't realize is how much it rains here. I had no clue that. I swear it has rained every day that I've been here.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not really usual. Is it?
Yeah, it'll be dry after this little crazy period of rain for a while, I think. But yeah, I'm really tired of this rain right now. I need
It's
to
real
go away.
hard too. Like I got a video of the thunder the other day, and it shook the entire apartment complex. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually pretty comfortable with rain. I like rain. You know, if you know anything about Kodiak, it's the way it's in the Gulf of Alaska that we get way more rain than here. But before I moved here, I kind of had it in my mind that it would be a little bit drier. But I'm still good. I still like it.
Yeah. So here's the good question. They're gonna get real.
You're gonna ask it.
Irrelevant and irreverent after this. So, who's the coolest person on staff? You can only choose one, not Corey.
You know, it's funny because I mentioned to my wife, because for the people watching, they did give me the first few questions ahead of time, and it was on the list. And so I was talking to my wife about how I was going to answer that question, and I was going to say, well, you know, there's something cool about everybody on staff. So I could dodge the question.
But if you do that, we're going to make you tell us what's cool about everybody.
Yeah. That's true. But, you know, I definitely see so much talent from every single person on staff. You know, the other day I was sitting at my desk and I heard this great singing. I thought, who is that? And it was Sarah Kate, you know, so it was really cool. And I see a lot of talent in what you guys do, not only with the podcast, but, you know, all the other things that you do. And, you know, Reed is great with design and, you know, decor and that sort of thing. So I see something cool about literally everybody on staff. So it's really hard to say who's the coolest. Plus, I don't want to make any enemies by choosing one particular person. But
It's okay. Well, I know it's me.
Yeah. I think we've unlocked one of Rita's great strengths of interior design.
Yeah.
With this James Steele cottage.
Who would have known,
Who would
right?
have known?
yeah.
Everything's in Hampton red.
Of course. Hampton red, Rita. It's your
That's her
favorite color.
All right, Jordan. You got some lightning round questions for us that you've worked up.
I'm going to let you open it.
Will is less prepared for these, I think, as
That's
he was
correct.
the other ones. So
Right. I haven't seen these in advance.
that's the
Yeah.
point of the lightning round, is to throw you off guard. So the first one is, what food would you never eat, and what food do you hate more than anything?
Well, you know, I'm a pretty adventurous person, and I've traveled a lot, and I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't try. So I don't think there's anything that even a bug. I mean, I would try it.
Cicadas, those are prevalent right now.
Well, maybe I'll have to give that a try. Yeah. I think in terms of food that I hate raw onions. I hate raw onions. I don't mind a cooked onion or a pickled onion. You know, those are fine. But just like a raw red onion on a hamburger, I swear it stays with you for days, and I just won't eat it.
I can handle I don't like cooked onions. They get slimy, but I can do a raw red onion on my burger if it's thinly sliced. If it's one of those big thick ones, I'm like, no, I can't do this.
I'll tolerate it, but that's it. I'll tolerate it. But mayonnaise, that's me. Nope.
Yeah.
Ah.
But
Not at all.
you ate something you didn't realize had mayonnaise in it the other day.
Yeah, just don't tell me about it. If I don't know, it's fine. But I cannot. I hate the idea of it.
What is your favorite food?
Favorite food. Well, if I were to just order anything I like beef stroganoff.
That's solid.
Yeah.
It is
That's a solid
Beef
hearty
I
meal.
pretty much grew up on hamburger helper beef stroganoff.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. And I like mushrooms, and I like, like a good beef. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be my favorite.
The noodles are nice too.
Yeah. Noodles are nice. You bet.
If you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, one that I've watched a million times. I love the movie The Martian. Where he gets stranded, left behind on Mars, and they have to go and bring him back.
Matt Damon?
Yeah,
Matt
okay,
Damon.
Matt Damon. I love that movie, but I also like the movie Lawrence of Arabia. Really love that movie. I've watched it a million times. Classic. So it'd be a toss-up between those two. If I had to pick one, I think The Martian. I love sci-fi.
Yeah, it's real cool. He just
That's when he's growing potatoes on
Right.
through like
Mars
a
or
chemical
wherever.
reaction. He makes water crazy.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
What about Interstellar? Have you ever watched that one?
I have watched that one. That one's a little bit harder for me to grasp.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little less logical. Like The Martian it's science, and it's you just solve the problems. With Interstellar, it's like
supposedly it's based off science.
I know.
I don't know how it works,
but it's theoretical science, But the idea of looking through, is that the one he looks through the bookcase and is that Interstellar? Yeah, that's that one, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like behind the bookcase and he can see his.
Yeah. See, to me, I just don't get that. That just doesn't seem plausible to me. But whatever.
Yeah, it was a lot it was like 3 hours long too. It was a lot to take in.
That's true.
But it was interesting and kind of sad when he comes back at the end and he's like the same age and his daughter's like 90 years old, that sort of thing. But
yeah, that's right.
It's really weird. You never watched it?
I don't think so.
You should
I probably watched it and just forgot it.
Yeah.
It's a good one. My movie would probably be Nacho Libre. As
Of course it would.
that's the
That's a
movie
good
I
one
want to
too.
watch.
Mine is Fight Club. Love me some Fight Club. I can quote every bit of that movie, word for word.
I can quote Nacho Libre word for word and do most days.
Yeah, I know.
That, Gravity Falls, or The Office is constantly on my mind.
Yeah, it's in a rotation. The memes are, I see them through the text.
Or Lego Batman too. Can't forget about that.
Will Arnett, thank you for ruining my life. If you could hang out with one cartoon character for a day, who would it be?
That's another hard one. Trouble is, I can hardly even think of any cartoon characters, but I think it would have to be, in the Incredibles. Probably the dad in Incredibles. I like
Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
Math is math.
Yeah.
Part 2. I love.
I like Jack.
So
Jack.
relatable.
Yeah.
Jack is a legend for sure. What's the next one?
What's the best thing that you have bought this year?
Ooh, best thing that I've bought. Well, I just bought a couple days ago. It's a dumb answer. At home we have our internet installed at one end of the house, so that in the bedroom at the opposite end we don't get any internet. So I bought this. It's called a mesh network, where it has all these little pods that you put out throughout the house, and it creates internet all over the house. So I went from having no connectivity to having 5 bars. So pretty cool. Pretty happy with that.
Seems like a worthy investment.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So now wherever I go, I have full strength on my.
I need to check into that. You get in the corners of my house and it don't work too good.
Yeah, exactly.
my apartment's
There we
fairly
go.
small. It grabs all of it.
Yeah. I was hoping that you had bought your bus in the past year, and that would be your answer. But so tell us about your bus that you've renovated.
Yeah, actually, it might have been within a year. Now that I think about it, it was probably 9 or 10 months ago. But I like camping. I really do. I like being outdoors. But I'm at an age where the idea of sleeping on a hard ground just doesn't sound as attractive as it used to. And I've done the travel trailer thing where the bumper pull behind your vehicle, and I just find those to be poorly made, like cardboard, and they break easily, and they're just not very durable. So I sold the travel trailer that I had, and I bought a school bus that I've so far only gutted. I've pulled all the seats out, but my plan is to build almost like a tiny home. It's going to have a nice bedroom with a real bathroom, with a real shower, and a kitchen with a real sink and a real stove, so that we can head off to the wilderness somewhere and spend a couple of weeks off grid and have some comfort while we're doing it. So glamping, absolutely. I'm a woodworker. I love to work with wood. I carve masks, but love, I have a lot of shop tools and stuff, and so I plan to build all my own cabinets and do everything myself. And it'll probably take me another year to finish it, but excited to get it.
I love that.
Have you ever carved like a primitive longbow by any chance? Because that's been a dream. I started working on one a long time ago and I never finished it.
Oh,
But
I can't say that I've done that.
I was say you could give me some tips. Help me finish that up.
I would love to make my own furniture with secret compartments and moving bookcases and just things that doubled as other things, like a table that's also a shelf that's also a pantry. I mean, it's just I find a lot of interest in those things, but I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah, one of my dreams since becoming a father of 3, when we had to upgrade to a van, is now to get a 15-passenger van, and then make that really spacious and hold all my children, and stick a bed in the back or something like that. And just be able to go anywhere I want.
Yeah, take a big hunting trip.
Yeah.
There we go.
4-wheel drive, 15
Roughing
passenger
it.
van. I want it.
And this is our last lightning round questions.
Right.
What's your favorite type of chip, and what's your favorite flavor of chip?
Well, I'm pretty boring, but I like the Kettle brand chip, and I like their sea salt and vinegar. I love the tanginess of that vinegar.
I love a good sea salt and vinegar.
Yeah, in fact, I just had some with lunch just a few minutes ago. So
There's some barbecue ones sitting right over there on that
Not
chair.
anymore. I already
Oh,
ate
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I found a bag or two sitting in there, and I got there was a plain one. I like the kettle cook, the crunch in it, the crunch.
Those barbecue are mighty fine.
I'm not as big a fan of barbecue. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But
I love a good chip.
Really?
There's not really a chip I won't eat, quite honestly.
no,
I like those hot wing chips, though. Those are delicious.
I'm not really a fan of any of the special flavors that Lay's have been doing through the years. I've never really latched onto one of those.
You know, I had a hard time getting involved with it. You know, like the pickle one. I was like, no, there's no way ever. And then someone had some once, and I was like, you know what?
Probably just like
It's fine.
salt and vinegar.
It's basically salt and vinegar. I'm like, this is fine.
With a little bit of dill on it or something. I don't know. Fake dill.
Natural flavoring, Corey.
Yeah.
Natural.
MSG or whatever that stuff is. All right, Will, we appreciate you coming on to the podcast, and we look forward to all the things to come moving forward. So
it's been a pleasure.
We're gonna do our closings and all that.
yeah, we got to do our outros, announcements, and all that good stuff. So, Will, we thank you again. And with that, Will Anderson has left the building.
I love that we sound like a free throw competition.
A free throw competition?
Yeah, you know, at the gym, they'll play it like hyping the crowd up or whatever.
Yeah.
That's us. We're hyping up the crowd.
That's what I always try to do.
We got our announcements.
Yeah. It's been a while. We actually got things going on. We got a lot going on. It's getting real.
Yeah, we got a summer school coming up here shortly. And with summer school is hiring. So we have the ReadingCorps position. We're hiring more tutors for Leslie, Perry, and Knott County. We had a lot of our tutors, move on, which is, of course, what we want, because we want them to go on to better and brighter futures. That's what ReadingCorps is for. We want them to take advantage of those education awards and get that experience.
Good experience.
Exactly. So that's exactly what they did, and we're very happy for them. We're very proud of them. But that's besides the point, because we need more tutors. And,
yes.
We got very lucky this year with a salary increase. So it was around $14,000, but this year we're trying to pay $17,750. Whoopsies.
Yeah,
and
that's a little more appetizing.
It is a little bit more appetizing. It's a nice little salary, and on top of that, we have an education award that went up slightly, around $200. So it's around $6,300 for your education. So
that's like one semester.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, or it's for
depending on where you're at.
A lot of us have debt, so it's a good opportunity for us to get rid of that.
Yeah, unless you got private debt like me. And it's not
Good job.
It's not going to pay that.
So proud of you. You make the special mistakes.
Yes, lots of special mistakes. Yeah. So if you are interested in becoming a ReadingCorps tutor this year, you can. Where would they go to get that contact?
Hindman.org / recruitment. Or you can contact me directly at jordan@hindman.org. So real easy to remember. If you don't want to, someone who does, also submit them. We need everyone we can get.
Yes, we desperately need tutors to come and fill all these spots throughout the what are the counties we in?
We're in Leslie, Perry, and Knott County. We're also in Hazard Independent.
Yeah.
So
awesome. So you can, if you're in one of those communities, you have a job. You could get a job at one of your local, maybe your alma mater school.
Yeah, exactly. Give back to the community.
Yeah.
While making a little bit on the side for both your education and your pockets.
Indeed. And also, summer school starts the day this podcast will come out on Monday. So
I did not know the day, so I'm glad you knew it.
Back to in-person, or sort of halfway in-person summer school. this summer. I think there's 15 students going to be on campus.
And 30 virtual.
30 virtual.
30 or 35. But yeah.
Awesome. Glad to see things getting back at it. We also have a new little happening coming up this month on June 24th from 4 to 6 o'clock, and that is Family Yoga Night. And I'm not really sure who is teaching the yoga, but I know Sarah Kate is planning that, and do you know what's going on there?
I don't know who's teaching it, but it's a good opportunity for you to get out and stretch.
And do some stretching.
And if it goes well enough, we get enough people there, we plan on making it a more regular event.
Yeah, so if you like yoga, if you like stretching, wearing stretchy pants, as Nacho Libre says, then you can come to the settlement school and get your stretch on the monthly.
Sounds like an open opportunity for me to wear yoga pants, so I'm on board. I know Corey's excited.
It's not an opportunity. And also, we have successfully gone through 2 farmers markets here in Knott County, and so those are in full swing now every Tuesday from 4 to 6 o'clock. We have a good atmosphere, lots of vendors coming, and music on the regular. You can check out our website and information for that on who's going to be there and when. But yeah, come check out our farmers market if you're here local. Support our local farmers. Support the Hyman Settlement School, because we are always there selling our various produce offerings from our greenhouse and gardens, and our cannery offerings that we've worked on, the tadpole jalapeno pickles, and all those good things that we have there.
And our signature spice. Goes good on
and a signature spice, yes. And our farmers markets will also start operating on Fridays from 10 to 12 during the month of July. So that's coming up too. And if you are interested in senior vouchers, those are coming soon. Haven't got a firm date on that, but I know we keep getting a lot of phone calls about it, and I can say they are coming soon. Don't know. They're coming. Just keep calling and aggravating Kelsey, and
I'm sure she'll love that.
Her not giving you the answer that you're looking for. Okay, and as always, we want to recognize our wonderful, wonderful donors and give our gratitude to them. And since this is our first episode back since Kentucky Gives Day, we want to give everyone a hearty thank you for your donations and support on that day. And we also want to recognize Patricia Cannon-Childs, who you can also find a blog about that Josh wrote on our Donor Spotlight blog. And she donated some books, music books, and like a whole library, I think, of that sort of stuff. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I guess I'll get the next one. It's kind of sideways, but we have Jacob Feree chapter, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They gave a gift of $700 for after-school music lessons, so the kids are going to very much enjoy that, and you can catch them picking away on our website. We'll probably get plenty of little posts on there about them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a video on our website or on Facebook of them at the farmers market, so check that out. You
can check them out and see the kids putting their musical skills to work.
Yep, and also Save the Children has reaffirmed their support for our ReadingCorps program with a $20,000 gift for the coming school year. So thank you, Save the Children. And I think we got some also things in the work with them for food stuff this winter. So
oh boy,
yeah.
Hopefully we can. We growing them potatoes yet, Corey?
Growing them potatoes?
Yeah, I want to grow potatoes.
They got corn, zucchini, and beans, and kale, and turnips, and all the good stuff.
Oh, turnips!
I do got sweet potatoes.
Yeah, there we go.
I just planted those yesterday. So
that's what I'm down for. Those turnips are pretty good too.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Joe and Cora Pinhak. Sorry if I mispronounced it, but I gave you guys a tour. It's this past week. This will probably come out a couple weeks later, but I really enjoyed you guys coming by and your donations to help us keep doing the good work we do.
Indeed, and Jordan would love to give anyone and everyone a tour who wants to come for a visit to the settlement school. We've been getting quite a bit of traffic lately, so that's been fun to see. People coming to check us out and shopping in our store.
Yeah, with all good tours, I end in a gift shop. So,
indeed. All right, well, we hoped you enjoyed this episode, and we thank you for tuning in so much. And my name is Corey Terry.
And I'm Jordan Collins.
And we'll catch you next time.
The Hindman Cast is brought to you by the faithful and generous supporters of the Hindman Settlement School. For over 100 years, we've been celebrating heritage and changing lives in Central Appalachia. If you're interested in supporting the work of Hindman Settlement School, you can go to our website at www.hindman.org, or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the handle @Hindman School.